Ngozi had everything: money, a beautiful home, and a husband who gave her anything she wanted. But there was one thing she hated more than poverty: housework. She treated her maids like trash. Used them. Abused them. Threw them out like dirty laundry, until the day she hired a quiet girl in a yellow wrapper, a girl she once chased away and forgot. But the girl never forgot her, and this time, she didn't come to work, she came to collect. Before marriage, everyone said Ngozi had a bright future. She had studied marketing in Unilag, graduated with a strong second-class upper, and even interned at a popular PR agency in 6. She was sharp-tongued, well-dressed, and confident, one of those women who looked expensive even when she wore jeans and slippers. Her dream was to own her own brand someday, but marriage changed her rhythm. She married Ken Okafor, a soft-spoken, business-savvy oil and gas contractor who was always flying from Lagos to Port Harcourt and sometimes Abuja. Within the first year of marriage, he bought her a house in Lekki Phase 1, hired her a driver, and told her to relax and enjoy. She took that instruction seriously. From then on, Ngozi stopped chasing goals and started chasing comfort. Ken had begged her several times. Even if you don't want to work, just start something small at home. A skincare line. Online PR something. But Ngozi waved him off every time. I didn't marry to stress myself. Your mates are giving their wives soft life. NA business you want me to start? He gave up eventually. Years passed. One big duplex. And Ngozi fully settled into a life where her only duty was looking good and commanding people. The house was always in chaos, because Ngozi hated housework. She hated cooking, folding clothes, even instructing someone else to do chores was too much effort. But she loved having control. And that made life unbearable for every housemaid that stepped through her gate. The first maid, Rose, left after a month. She doesn't let me sleep, sir, Rose told her husband before leaving. She wakes me up at 2 a.m. to iron wrapper. Wrapper, oh. The second, Clara, ran away. Literally. Ngozi had accused her of finishing a pack of Hollandia yogurt without permission and poured palm oil on her head. The third, a shy Igala girl named Beatrice, was locked outside the compound for 3 hours because she mistakenly used scented soap in Ngozi's bathroom. You want to use the same soap I use? Are you mad? Ken, whenever he was home, would plead with her. Take it easy on these girls, beg. They're human beings. But Ngozi never listened. In fact, she enjoyed hearing herself give instructions. Wash all the curtains today. Use toothbrush to scrub the window edges. Clean the back of the gas cooker with lime. Not sponge, lime. They rarely lasted beyond 3 weeks. Good maids are hard to find, Ngozi always said, sipping Maltina and scrolling through TikTok. These girls of nowadays have no home training. And so the house stayed in a loop: 1 week of peace, 2 weeks of shouting, 1 day of chasing someone out, and then another search, until one Thursday afternoon, she came across a message in a WhatsApp women's group: reliable housemaid available. Very quiet. 25k per month. Contact below. Ngozi clicked the number. No profile photo. No last seen. Just the name, Amora, house help. She hesitated. Something about the message felt strange, but 25k was cheap. And she was tired of shouting. She called the number. It rang just once before it picked. Hello? Ngozi said. No reply. Only faint breathing. She frowned. Hello. A soft voice answered finally, calm and dry. I'm available. I can start tomorrow. Ngozi blinked. Don't you want to know where? I already know the house. The line went dead. That night, Ken called from Port Harcourt. You want to hire someone again? Yes, Ngozi said. This one is quiet. No Warala. He sighed on the phone. You know the children are coming home next week. Just try and be normal. Please. Ngozi scoffed. Don't lecture me. When are you coming back? Maybe Sunday. She didn't like that answer. Stay long enough, and I'll hire a maid for you too, she snapped. He chuckled, tired. Just don't chase this one out. The next morning, at 7 a.m., the gate bell rang. Ngozi opened the window blinds. There, standing at the gate, was a girl in a faded yellow wrapper and white rubber slippers. Her hands were empty. Her eyes were staring directly into the camera above the gate. She wasn't blinking. Ngozi narrowed her eyes. She pressed the intercom. The girl looked up and smiled. Ngozi kept staring at the CCTV screen. The girl at the gate hadn't moved, still standing with her arms at her sides. Her face lifted, her eyes focused directly into the camera as if she could see through it. No bag, no phone, no slippers on her feet, just bare white rubber soles that looked dusty from travel. Is this one mad? Ngozi muttered, folding her arms. Girl stepped into the compound without hesitation, like she'd lived there before. She looked around slowly, eyes lingering on the upstairs balcony, the windows, and finally the front door. Ngozi waited for a greeting. None came. "You're the maid?" she asked flatly, standing at the top of the stairs with a silk scarf wrapped around her rollers. The girl nodded once. "Yes, Ma." Her voice was soft, distant. "What's your name?" "Amora." Her skin was pale, not from bleaching, but like someone who hadn't seen sunlight in a long time. Her face was narrow, lips dry, and her eyes were too calm. Ngozi looked her up and down. "You came with nothing?" "I don't need much." Ngozi clicked her tongue. Well, I hope you're not here to do big girl. I don't like girls that touch phone every 5 minutes or ask stupid questions." "I don't have a phone." Ngozi raised an eyebrow. "No phone?" "No, Ma." She nodded slowly. "Good. You'll start now." Amora stepped into the kitchen immediately and picked up a mop. No instruction. No noise. She simply began to clean. By noon, the house was spotless. Ngozi hadn't heard her speak more than 10 words. No humming. No dragging slippers. No attitude. She had cleaned the entire living room, dusted the chandelier, washed the staircase railings, and even cleaned the generator cage outside without being told. Ngozi was impressed, but also a bit unnerved. She sat on the couch, sipping malt, scrolling through her phone. From time to time, she glanced at Amora as she moved around silently, her bare feet making no sound across the tiles. "Come," she finally said. "Come here." Amora walked over and stood before her, hands clasped. Ngozi studied her face. "You've done this work before?" "Yes, Ma." "Where?" She paused. "In many places." Ngozi leaned back. "Why did you leave your last madam?" "She died." The room fell quiet. Ngozi blinked. "Died?" "Yes, Ma. She fell down the stairs." "HMPH. That one no concern me. As long as you do your work and don't steal, we won't have a problem." Amora nodded once and returned to scrubbing the corridor skirting. That evening, Ken called. Ngozi put him on speaker as she lay in bed, rubbing cream on her arms. "How's the new girl?" he asked casually. "She's strange," Ngozi said. "But effective." "Strange how?" "She doesn't talk. No phone. No questions. She just cleans. Like a ghost." Ken chuckled. "You always complain when they talk too much. Now you've seen quiet, you're still not satisfied." "I'm just saying she gives me weird energy," Ngozi mumbled. "Well, try not to chase her away before I come back." She scoffed. "Enemy chase people? I treat them well." Ken didn't answer. "Ken?" she asked. He sighed. "I didn't say anything. Good night." She hissed softly and ended the call. At exactly 2:11 a.m., Ngozi woke up to a sound, faint humming, not from her phone. Not from the TV. It was human, a soft, haunting melody drifting through the house like mist. She sat up. The room was dark. She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight. The sound was coming from the corridor. She stood up slowly, tiptoed toward the door, and opened it a crack. Amora was standing in the middle of the hallway, facing the mirror, still in her yellow wrapper. She was humming to her reflection. Ngozi's heart skipped. Amora wasn't cleaning. She wasn't praying. She was talking. But not with her mouth. Her reflection. was moving on its own, smiling, nodding. Ngozi shut the door quietly. She lay back on the bed, heart racing. She didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, Ngozi walked into the living room like someone walking on glass. She hadn't slept. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw the same thing: Amora, standing in the hallway mirror, whispering to something invisible. Or worse, whispering to herself. But that smile from the reflection, it wasn't Amora's, it felt borrowed. Ancient. Ngozi sat on the couch in her satin robe, her face bare, her eyes sunken. She watched the hallway mirror from where she sat, her legs crossed tightly. It looked normal now. But too clean. Too calm. Like nothing had happened, Amora entered the room with a tray of tea. No word. No eye contact. Who told you to make me tea? Ngozi asked sharply. Amora placed the tray on the center table. You take it every morning at 10 a.m. Ngozi stiffened. I do. Amora nodded once. Ngozi stared at her. Did Ken tell you that? No, Ma. You told me yesterday. Ngozi said nothing, because she hadn't. She knew she hadn't. Throughout the day, she tried to act normal. She called the tailor about her wrapper. Replied a few chats. Watched short skits on Facebook. But she couldn't shake the tension. Her mind kept drifting back to the mirror. And to Amora, it didn't help that the girl cleaned like a machine. She never stopped. Never rested. She had wiped every single louver blade in the boys' quarters and was now polishing the bronze door handles upstairs without being told. Ngozi walked past her and said, Why are you always cleaning? Can't you sit still for once? Amora paused. That's what you brought me for. Ngozi narrowed her eyes. You talk back now? No, Ma. She went back to cleaning. Ngozi turned away, her lips tight. She entered her room and locked the door. She needed to think. Something was not right. Something had shifted since the girl entered this house. She picked her phone and called Ken. He didn't answer. She called again. Same thing. She hissed and opened WhatsApp to message him. But Ken's profile photo was gone. His status was gone. Even his last scene had disappeared. Blocked. Her heart pounded. She checked their text thread. Still there. Ken, I'll be back on Sunday. Don't stress the girl. Ken, try and rest. Ngozi. She typed, Are you back in Lagos? But it didn't deliver. She dropped the phone and stood. No. She was overthinking. Maybe the network was just bad. She opened her wardrobe to find a change of clothes and paused. Inside the drawer, beneath her lace blouse, was something strange. A photograph, old, worn, folded. She picked it up. It was a picture of her front gate. The old design, before renovations. And kneeling outside that gate, barefoot, was a young girl in torn clothes. Her hands were clasped like she was begging. Ngozi felt her stomach drop. She remembered that day. Vaguely, a girl had come begging for food. She had shouted at her to leave. No, she had slapped her. Called her a thief. Dirty thing, you want to enter my house? Get out. Her heart began to race. She unfolded the photo fully. The girl in the picture was younger. But it was her, Amora. That night, the mirrors moved, not physically, but the reflections changed. Ngozi walked past the one in the hallway and froze. Her reflection was standing still, but not in sync. Its eyes followed her a second too late. The smile lingered longer than her mouth held it. She turned away and faced the stairs. From upstairs, Amora watched her silently. Ngozi said, pointing. What did you put in my mirror? Amora tilted her head. I didn't put anything, Ma. It's always been there. Don't speak in riddles, you hear me? Amora descended slowly. Would you like me to remove them? Ngozi paused. Could she? Amora leaned closer, her voice like smoke. But if I remove them, where will you hide from yourself? Ngozi slapped her. A sharp sound. Silence followed. Amora didn't flinch. She only smiled faintly, then turned and walked away like nothing had happened. At midnight, Ngozi crept to the guest room mirror with a hammer. She stared at her reflection, breathing hard. The image blinked slowly. It whispered, Ngozi screamed and struck it. The mirror cracked, but instead of shattering, it let out a high-pitched sound. Not glass. Not wood. Something else. A scream. From the hallway, Amora's voice drifted in like wind. "You shouldn't have done that." The light went out. Ngozi didn't sleep that night. She locked herself in the master bedroom, turned on every light, clutched her Bible to her chest, and stayed alert until morning. But morning brought no relief. The house no longer felt like her own. It was colder. Quieter. Too clean. She opened the bedroom door slowly and stepped into the hallway, expecting to see Amora sweeping like always, but the corridor was empty. No humming. No movement. She checked the kitchen. Nothing. The living room. Gone. "Amora," she called. Silence. For a moment, hope rose in her chest. Maybe she had left. Maybe the slap had driven her away. Maybe the madness was over. She picked up her phone and tried Ken again. Still switched off. She checked the mirrors. All were still cracked. But not broken. The largest one in the guest room still had a long vertical line running through it, but now, there was something worse. It was no longer reflecting her properly. Her image was darker. Slower. And when she turned away, she could still feel it watching her back. Ngozi stumbled out of the room, breathing hard. This is not ordinary. This is not ordinary. She grabbed her wrapper and ran outside. The gate was unlocked, wide open. She stepped out into the sun for the first time in days. The compound looked normal, but something felt strange. She walked to her neighbor's house, Madame Jenny, who usually greeted her with fake smiles and long eyes. She knocked. Jenny opened and blinked like she'd seen a ghost. "Ngozi?" she asked, confused. "You're still here?" Ngozi frowned. "What kind of question is that?" Jenny stepped outside, whispering. "But they said you people left that house long ago." "Who said?" "Landlord. Even the estate security. The last time anyone saw Ken was what? Last year?" Ngozi's lips trembled. "We've been living there all this time." Ngozi froze. Jenny looked genuinely disturbed now. "Ngozi, are you okay?" Ngozi turned and ran. She reached the house panting. She burst through the gate. And stopped. Because the house wasn't the same. The compound was darker. The walls were faintly moldy. Her potted flowers had withered. Curtains were drawn. Silence sat like dust on everything. She opened the door. Inside, the lights were off. The TV was unplugged. No tea tray on the table. No folded laundry on the couch. No scent of air freshener or Dettol. Just silence. Ngozi walked slowly into the hallway. "Amora?" Nothing. She climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. The master bedroom door was open. Inside, the mirror had been cleaned. Her reflection stood there smiling. Ngozi turned to the bed. Ken was lying there, eyes closed. Still, she ran to him. Shaking him. "Ken? Ken? Wake up." He didn't move. She checked his pulse. Cold. "No. No, 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 no." She sobbed, falling beside him. Then she saw it burned into the wooden side of the bed. "You opened the gate." She stumbled out of the room and fell to her knees, everything around her blurred. She crawled toward the hallway mirror, looked into it, and gasped. Amora was standing inside. Amora lifted her hand and touched the inside of the mirror. Ngozi touched hers to it. Cold. Smooth. Then Amora whispered, "You brought me back. You chased me away. Now I've made the house mine." Ngozi screamed and punched the glass. It didn't break, but her reflection did. Blood poured from the mirror version of her, but her real hand was unhurt. She backed away. All the mirrors in the house lit up, glowing faintly. From every corner, her face stared back. And all of them were smiling. She ran to the front door. It wouldn't open. She yanked it. Kicked it. Screamed. Locked. From inside, she ran to the back exit, sealed shut. The windows wouldn't budge. The generator wouldn't come on. Her phone was missing. The house had become her cage, and in the center of it all, standing silently in the living room, was Amora, smiling, holding Ngozi's apron. The house went completely silent after that night. No neighbors heard any screams. No security man noticed anything strange. The gate remained closed. The lights never flickered again. The compound, so loud before with the clatter of maids and shouting, became eerily peaceful. Ngozi was never seen again. 3 months later, a new family moved in. A banker named Mr. Daniel, his wife Rita, and their young daughter Tenny. The agent had offered them the mansion at a ridiculous price, fully serviced. "Just needs a little repainting," he said. Previous occupants traveled. They moved in excitedly, bringing with them new furniture, new curtains, and a fresh sense of life. The house smelled like lavender and baby powder. The walls were repainted. The mirrors left intact because they looked expensive. The first week passed in peace, until one afternoon, Rita walked into the kitchen and found her daughter talking to the hallway mirror. "Tenny, who are you talking to?" Tenny turned and said, "The auntie in the mirror. She said she lives here now." Ronk laughed it off. Children and their imagination. But that night, her husband said something odd. "Did you see the girl who cleaned the compound today?" Rita frowned. "What girl?" "The girl. In yellow wrapper. I thought she was one of the staff." Rita paused. "We haven't hired anyone." They went outside. The gate was shut. The security man swore no one had come in. Still, every morning, the compound was spotless. The mirrors gleamed, and faint footprints of bare feet appeared in the hallway. Then one day, a visitor came, a woman. Mid-50s. Quiet voice. "I used to live here," she said at the gate. "Do you still have the maid?" The couple looked at each other. "We don't have any maid." The woman smiled faintly. "Oh. Then she's running the house now." They watched her walk away, not understanding. But that night, as Rita stood brushing her hair, she glanced into the mirror and her hand paused mid-air, because behind her reflection, a figure stood, slim, still, in a yellow wrapper, smiling. Moral of the story: treat those who serve you with dignity, because one day, they might be the ones holding the keys. Comfort becomes a curse when it comes at the cost of cruelty. You can fire a worker, but you can't chase away vengeance. If this story gave you chills, don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, and share with someone who thinks they're untouchable. Subscribe to Spine-Chilling African. Stories filled with suspense, mystery, and powerful moral lessons.